Hi friends, today we are going to discuss direct tax in that income from other sources chapter. Okay friends, see income from other sources. See first section 56 subsection 2 gift. See in general gift may be money or movable property or immovable property. See here there is a list. See relative given any gift to SSC, then fully exempt, or university or institute, marriage at the time of marriage or death contemplation, and hospital and medical institutions, trust and charitable institutions, local authorities, inheritance or will, gift from holding company to subsidiary company or vice versa. So as you get any gift from this type of people, then fully exempt. Even it is money or movable property or immovable property, fully exempt. Okay. See here, if any amount received from the relative, then fully exempt. If assessee receives any amount in the form of gift, fully exempt from relative. See here, relative means, see here, individual, that is assessee. So and also spouse, that is wife of assessee, and kids. And kids spouse, and spouse, that means assessee's wife, father, mother, brother, sister, and also brother's spouse and sister's spouse. See individual, that is assessee's brother plus spouse and sister plus spouse, and assessee's father, mother, grandparents. See here, father, brother plus spouse and sister plus spouse. In mother, brother plus spouse and sister plus spouse. So this all are comes under the category of relative. So any gift received from these type of relatives, then that gift fully exempt. And see next, university or institutions providing any gift to assessee, then that is also fully exempt. Next, see at the time of assessee's marriage, any gift received from this relative, then that is fully exempt. And next, death contemplation. If any relative dying at that time transfer any property to the assessee's name in the form of gift, then that is fully exempt. And hospital and medical institutions, any cash received from this hospital and medical institution, then that is fully exempt. And next, trust and charitable institutions. If any cash gift received by the assessee from this trust and charitable institution, then fully exempt. And next, local authorities. If assessee receives any amount that is in the form of gift from local authorities, that is also fully exempt. And inheritance or will. See, inheritance or will means parents are there. These parents creating property. This property transferred to child. So this type of transferring property in the form of gift, that is fully exempt. Okay. Next, gift from holding company to subsidiary company or subsidiary company to holding company received, then that is fully exempt. Okay, but if any gift received from other people, that is other than these people, then aggregate amount up to 50,000 per annum exempt. Okay, if any gift received more than 50,000, then taxable fully value. For example, if gift received 70,000, then this 70,000 taxable value. Okay, see here, movable means movable property includes bullions, shares and securities, sculptures, drawings, archaeological collections, painting and jewelry. These all are includes in movable property. Okay. And see MCQ number 8. Mr. Y has received a sum of 51,000 and 24,1019 from relative on the occasion of his marriage. So here entire 51,000 is exempt because it is received from relative. Okay. See fifth MCQ. Ganesh received 60,000 from his friend on the occasion of his birthday. The entire amount 60,000 is taxable. Okay. See MCQ number 9. Mr. Mayank has received a sum of 75,000 and 24,1019 from his friend on occasion of his marriage anniversary. So here entire 75,000 is chargeable to tax. So option A is correct. See illustration 4. Discuss the taxability or otherwise of the following in the hands of the recipient under section 56(2)(x), the Income Tax Act 1961. Akhil HUF received 75,000 in cash from niece of Akhil, that is daughter of Akhil's sister. Akhil is the karta of the HUF. See here, taxable 75,000 total amount taxable because sum of money exceeding 50,000 received without consideration from a non-relative is taxable under section 56(2)(x). Daughter of Mr. Akhil's sister is not a relative of Akhil HUF since she is not a member of Akhil's HUF. Okay. And see second one. Nitisha, a member of her father's HUF, transferred a house property to the HUF without consideration. The stamp duty value of the house property is 9 lakhs. See here it is not taxable because immovable property received without consideration by HUF from its relative is not taxable under section 56(2)(x). Since Nitisha is a member of the HUF, she is a relative of the HUF. However, income from such asset would be included in the hands of the Nitisha under section 64 subsection 2. See next one. Mr. Akshat received 100 shares A Limited from his friend as a gift on occasion of his 25th marriage anniversary. The fair market value on the date of the 100 per share. He also received jewelry worth 45,000 from his nephew on the same date. It is taxable because as per provision of this section, in case aggregate fair market value of the property other than immovable property received without consideration exceeds 50,000, the whole of the aggregate value shall be taxable. In this case, the aggregate fair market value of shares 10,000 and jewelry 45,000 exceeds 50,000. Hence, the entire amount of 55,000 shall be taxable. Okay. Next see. Kishan HUF gifted a car son of Karta for achieving good marks in 12 board examination. The FMV of the car is 5,25,000. Non-taxable car is not included in the definition of property for the purpose of section 56(2)(x). Therefore, the same shall not be taxable. Okay. And next see. Income which fall under the head of income from other sources. Which type of income fall under this head means? See, employee contributes towards staff welfare schemes. That is comes under the income from other sources. See, and next, interest income under section 10 subsection 15. Any interest income receiving in the form of securities, bonds, depositing, then that income comes under the head income from other sources. In this interest income, there is a fully exempt and partly exempt, fully taxable. See, fully exempt items. Interest income arise by investing the bonds in IRFCL, Indian Railway Finance Corporation Limited, and National Highway Authority of India and Rural Electrification Corporation Limited, RECL, and next, Housing Urban Development Corporation Limited, and next, Power Finance Corporation. So interest on these bonds are fully exempt. Okay, and next, fully exempt category, receiving interest on securities held by Welfare Commissioner Bhopal Gas Victims in Reserve Bank of India. From this receiving any interest, then that is fully exempt. Okay, next, receiving interest on gold deposit bonds issued under gold deposit scheme, that is also fully exempt. Next, see, and also receiving interest on deposit certificate where the gold monetization scheme. Okay, next, receiving interest on bonds issued by local authority or state pooled finance entity. These two are notified by central government in official gazette. And next, interest income received by non-resident from a unit located in IFSC, International Finance Sector, in respect of money borrowed from NR non-resident on or after 1/4/2019. Fully exempt. Okay. See the next, partly exempt. If any interest income from post of saving bank account, exempt up to 3,500 in case of individual and 7,500 in case of joint account. Okay. See next, interest from securities fully taxable, that is interest from debentures in Reliance Limited. Okay. And see, composite rent of house property where furniture and other assets not separable from the property. In other words, furnished house property. The income from such house property, such furnished house property, is not taken income from house property but taken under head income from other sources. It is fully taxable. And see next, sublet of house property. Tenant rent the house property to other tenant. So that is also taxable, fully taxable under the head income from other sources. And next, income from renting of assets like plant and machinery, furniture, land. That is also fully taxable under the head income from other sources. See, and next, keyman insurance policy amount received, that is also fully taxable. Keyman insurance policy. Here key man means company CEO, CFO, director. Okay. See, and next, fees for board meeting received by board of directors, that is also fully taxable. See, agriculture income from the land located in India, that is exempt under section 10 subsection 1. It is a part of income from other sources. And next, agriculture income from the land located outside India, fully taxable. Okay. See, and next, dividend income from domestic companies. Any dividend income received from domestic companies, that is exempt, but it is partial exemption. Maximum up to 10 lakhs per annum exempt. Remaining balance taxable at the rate of 10% as per section 115 BBDA. See here, for example, Reliance Industry Limited providing dividend to Mr. X 20 lakhs. So in that 10 lakhs exempt under section 1034. Remaining 10 lakhs at the rate of 10% as per section 115 BBDA taxable. Okay. And the MCQ number 7. In respect of dividend received from domestic company in excess of 10 lakhs by an individual, see option A, no deduction under chapter 6A is allowed but loss under other heads can be set off against such income. And see option B, no deduction under chapter 6A is allowed and no loss can be set off against such income. See option B is correct. See MCQ number 6. Mr. X aged 61 years received dividend of 12 lakhs from a domestic company in previous year 1920. Tax chargeable under section 115 BBDA is at the rate of 10% on. See, over and above 10 lakhs chargeable under the section 115 BBDA. Here over and above amount 2 lakhs. So option B is correct. Okay. And next, dividend income from cooperative society and foreign company fully taxable under the head income from other sources. And next, income from units of UTI and mutual funds are exempt under section 10 subsection 35. Okay. See next, advance money forfeiture after 1/4/14 or before 1/4/14. So sale of his property, any advance money received, that advance money forfeiture after 1/4/14, such advance will not reduce from cost of asset, and that is before 1/4/14 means reduce from cost of asset. Okay. Not reduce, reduce. And next, any income received from royalties, that is fully taxable under the head income from other sources. And next, insurance compensation exempt under section 10 subsection 10D. Okay. Next, casual incomes like betting on horse race, and next, card games, lottery, gambling, crossword puzzles. These all are fully taxable. Such winnings are chargeable to tax flat at the rate of 30% under section 115 BB. So, no basic exemption limit can be set off against these incomes. Okay. Next, family pension. See here, Normally exempt, not section 10 exemptions. So normally exemption 15,000 or one third amount received, whichever is lower. Partial exemption. Okay. And next, family pension in case of gallantry award winner, then fully exempt under section 1018. And next, family pension in case of armed forces who died during operation at duty is exempt under section 10 subsection 19. Okay. CMCQ number 3. The deduction allowable in respect of family pension taxable under income from other sources is C. Option C. 33 1/3% of pension or 15,000, whichever is less. Okay. Option C is correct. And next, income of minor child. Minor child income exempt to the parent up to 1,500 per annum. It is covered in clubbing chapter. Next, interest on compensation or enhanced compensation received, then partial exemption. See, for example, 1 lakh, 50,000 exempt and 50,000 income from other sources. Okay. See illustration 6. Interest and enhanced compensation received by Mr. G during the previous year 1920 is 5 lakhs. Out of this interest, 1,50,000 relates to the previous year 2016-17 and 1,65,000 relates to previous year 17-18 and 1,85,000 relates to previous year 18-19. Discuss the tax implications, if any, of such interest income for assessment year 2021. The entire interest of 5 lakhs would be taxable in the year of receipt, namely previous year 1920. Interest on enhanced compensation taxable under section 56(2)(8) 5 lakhs. Less deduction under section 57(4) 50%. So 2,50,000 deduction. So remaining 2,50,000 chargeable under the head income from other sources. Okay. See question number 2. Examine whether the following are chargeable to tax and the amount liable to tax. A sum of 1,20,000 was received as gift from non-relative by Raj on the occasion of the marriage of his son Praveen. It is taxable because the gift received from non-relative. If the gift received from relative, then it is exempt. Okay. In this case, it is taxable. See next question. Interest and enhanced compensation 96,000 received 12,320 for acquisition of urban land, of which 40% relates to previous year 1819. So it is also taxable because as per section 145B, 1, interest received by an assessee on enhanced compensation shall be deemed to be the income of the year in which it is received, irrespective of the method of accounting followed by the assessee. Interest of 96,000 on enhanced compensation is chargeable to tax in the year of receipt, that is previous year 1920, under section 56(2)(8) after providing deduction of 50% under section 57(4). Therefore 48,000 is chargeable to tax under the head income from other sources. Okay. And next, MPs, MLAs and MLC, their income, that is politicians' income, salary, fully taxable, and daily constitutional allowances. Daily constitutional allowances fully exempt. Okay. B. This section says excess consideration to private limited company at the time of issue of shares. See for example, ABC Private Limited issuing 1 lakh number of shares. 1 lakh shares, issuing 1 lakh shares. FMV of shares 80. Actual issue price 100. That is difference 20. 20 into number of shares, that is 1 lakh. See, this 20 lakhs chargeable under the head income from other sources. Okay. See here, if actual share price less than FMV, then ignore it. Okay. See next section. Section 56 to 10. In case of purchase of immovable property at the rate of inadequate consideration. See this section about purchase. It is an expense to assessee, not an income. Okay. See, before discussing this section, there is a formula. Difference between stamp duty value and actual value of the consideration paid. See, if there is any difference between these two, then this formula comes into exist. See, 5% of actual consideration paid or 50,000, whichever is higher. The difference of stamp duty value and actual value paid will be taken as income from other sources. Okay. See, for example, Mr. A is purchasing a flat, that is house property, from Mr. B. Mr. A is paying Mr. B 80 lakhs for this house property. But stamp duty value of this house property 1 crore. So the difference between stamp duty value and actual consideration, that is 1 crore minus 80 lakhs. Remaining 20 lakhs. This income will be considered as income of Mr. A. And such income will be charged under the head income from other sources. See here, this formula comes into exist. 5% of actual consideration. See here, 5% of actual consideration 4 lakhs and 50,000, whichever is higher, 4 lakhs. See here, 20 lakhs greater than 4 lakhs. Okay. See, if the difference between stamp duty value and the actual value of the consideration is paid more than, then the difference of stamp duty value and actual value paid will be taken as income from other sources. Okay. Then this 20 lakhs will be considered as income of Mr. A, and such income will be charged under the head income from other sources. Why this section came into existence means section 56 to 10. Why this section came into existence means Mr. X purchased house property from Mr. Y. The value of the house property 1 crore. Mr. X, bad person, he does not have entire 1 crore amount earned in proper manner. So, Mr. X said to Mr. Y, 50 lakhs by bank, that is he earned in proper manner, and 50 lakhs black money. Mr. X said, I will pay 1 crore, entire 1 crore, but I will pay in the form of 50 lakhs by bank and 50 lakhs with cash. For this, Y said, okay. So, Mr. X showing in his books only this 50 lakhs, not showing this money. Because of this, government said, we will consider the calculate as per section 56 to 10. We will find out the value of the house property owned by Mr. Y. So, government find out the value of the house of Mr. Y. Stamp duty value of the house 90 lakhs. So, with the help of stamp duty value authorities, find out the value of the house 90 lakhs. To the income tax departments. So here stamp duty value minus actual consideration. Stamp duty value 90 lakhs, actual consideration 50 lakhs. So remaining 40 lakhs income of Mr. X. So this income comes under the head income from other sources. If this 40 lakhs greater than formula. See formula. 5% of actual consideration 50,000. Here actual consideration 50 lakhs into 5%, 2,50,000. So here 40 lakhs greater than 2,50,000. So this 40 lakhs income of Mr. X. It is chargeable under the head income from other sources. Okay. Section 56 to 10. If the date of agreement and registration same, then SDV as on the date of registration will be considered for calculating inadequate consideration. Okay. If date of agreement and registration not same, then if on the date of agreement part or whole amount is paid by account payee check or bank draft or ECS or through such other electronic modes, then SDV on the date of agreement will be taken. If amount paid otherwise electronic mode, that is cash, then SDV value will be taken as on the date of registration. Here SDV on the date of agreement. On the date of agreement. Here SDV value will be on the date of registration. Okay. If the cost of the property more than 50 lakhs, then TDS will be deducted under section 194 IA at the rate of 1%. Okay. It is covered in TDS chapter. See, and next section 222. Dividend include deemed dividend. In this section, to the extent of accumulated profits of the company will be considered as deemed dividend. For example, shareholder receiving dividend is exempt under section 10 subsection 34 up to 10 lakhs. Over and above 10 lakhs, amount taxable under section 115 BBDA at the rate of 10%. So because of this, company is trying to pay dividend in the form of kind, not in cash. So because of that only this section came into existence. In this section, to subsection 22, dividend includes deemed dividend. See, section 22 subsection 22A, distribution of accumulated profits including assets of the company will be considered as deemed dividend. And next section 2 subsection 22B, distribution of debentures or deposit certificates to the shareholders or bonus shares to preference shareholders to the extent of accumulated profits of the company will be considered as deemed dividend. And next section 22 subsection 22C, distribution to the shareholders an account of liquidation to the extent of accumulated profits of the company will be considered as deemed dividend. And next section 22 subsection 22D, distribution to the shareholders and reduction of share capital to the extent of accumulated profits of the company will be considered as deemed dividend. See, for this 115 BBDA applicable. If any amount over and above 10 lakhs, then under section 115 BBDA taxable at the rate of 10%. Okay. See, from 222A to 222D, if any dividend or interim dividend and dividend referred are exempt under section 10 subsection 34, subject to section 115 DDA provisions applicable. Okay. See illustration 2. A Limited, a domestic company, declared a dividend of 170 lakhs for the financial year 2018-19 and distributed the same on 10/7/2019. Mr. X, holding 10% shares in A Limited, receives dividend of rupees 17 lakhs in July 2019. Mr. Y, holding 5% shares in A Limited, receives dividend of 8.50 lakhs. Discuss the tax implications in the hands of Mr. X and Mr. Y. Assuming that Mr. X and Mr. Y have not received dividend from any other domestic company during the year. Okay. The dividend of 170 lakhs declared and distributed in the previous year 2019-20 is subject to dividend distribution tax under section 115O in the hands of A Limited. See, in the hands of Mr. X, dividend received up to 10 lakhs would be exempt under section 1034. 7 lakhs being dividend received in excess of 10 lakhs would be taxable at the rate of 10% as per section 115 BBDA. Okay. Such dividend would not be exempt under section 1034. Therefore, tax payable by Mr. X on dividend of 7 lakhs under section 115 BBDA would be 72,800. That is 10% of 7 lakhs plus 4% cess. Okay. Next, in the hands of Mr. Y, the entire dividend of 8.5 lakh received would be exempt under section 1034, since only dividend received in excess of 10 lakh would be taxable under section 115 BBDA. Okay. See, and next to section 222E. See, for example, private limited company given loans or advances. Shareholder Mr. Y, 10% of equity shares. To the extent of accumulated profit deemed dividend under section 222E. So in that company or firm or LLP, Mr. Y, shareholder, has substantial interest. Then it will be considered as deemed dividend. See here in this section, deemed dividend fully exempt without applicability of section 115 BBDA. More than 10 lakhs also deemed dividend under section 222E is fully exempt under section 10 subsection 34. Okay. See illustration 1. Rahul, holding 28% of the equity shares in a company, took a loan of 5 lakhs from the same company. On the date of granting the loan, the company had accumulated profit of 4 lakhs. The company is engaged in some manufacturing activity. See first one, is the amount of loan taxable as deemed dividend if the company is a company in which public or substantially interested? See, any payment by a company other than a company in which the public are substantially interested of any sum by way of advance or loan to an equity shareholders, being a person who is beneficial owner of the shares holding not less than 10% of the voting power, is deemed as dividend under section 222E to the extent the company possesses accumulated profits. See, the provision of section 222E, however, will not apply where the loan is given by a company in which public or substantially interested. In such a case, the loan would not be taxable as deemed dividend. Okay. And second question. What would be your answer if the lending company is a private limited company? That is a company in which public are not substantially interested. However, if the loan is taken from a private company, that is a company in which a public are not substantially interested, which is a manufacturing company and not a company where lending of money is a substantial part of business of the company, then the provision of section 222E would be attracted since Rahul holds more than 10% of the equity shares in the company. The amount chargeable as deemed dividend cannot, however, exceed the accumulated profits held by the company on the date of giving the loan. Therefore, the amount taxable as deemed dividend would be limited to the accumulated profits, that is 4 lakhs, and not the amount of loan, which is 5 lakhs. Okay. See, there are some miscellaneous expenses related to income from other sources. Expenses, winnings, that is casual income, next exempt income, and next other taxable income. So see, no expenses allowed as deduction from income. Okay, here also no expenses allowed as deduction from income. Entire income taxable at the rate of 30% under section 115 BB. Okay. See here, exempted incomes mean under section 10. So in these two cases, no expenses allowed as deduction from income. Okay. Next, in this case, fully expenses allowed as deduction from income. Okay. See MCQ number 2. In respect of winnings from lottery, crossword puzzle or race, including horse race or card games, etc. So see option A, no deduction under chapter 6A is allowed and basic exemption limit cannot be exhausted. See option A is correct. Okay. See, any other income not covered under any other head of income, then such income will be covered under income from other sources. Okay. Okay friends, I left over some questions because that all are your homework. Do well. Okay friends, all the best. Bye. Next we will see another chapter.